ever done in their lives, from the moment of their birth right through the time of their close call with death. And they say that they see it all simultaneously, not with the events in temporal sequence, but rather all displayed there at once in a way that they find very difficult to describe.
As those hospital walls virtually disappeared, and I saw every minute detail of my life, seeing my own cesarean section birth through the 20 years that I had lived, because I was only 20 at the time.
With the light, there is this panoramic view of my life. It starts with birth. It continues right on to where we are at this point. All at the same time, I am part of the view, as well as watching it. I am actually doing these things. I guess it's a speeded up version of a camera that just runs double time or something. But I actually had the feelings of what was going on as I saw it, and also standing off to the side and being able to look around and look at the different things that went on at different times in my life.
I saw all my life, but it's in that dimension which cannot be described. This was holographical view of being inside of your life, and then being as a viewer, participating the play of theater which happening there. But it is you, and you know that you are this.
At Disney World, they had this Kodak ride where you sit in this seat and you go, there's this movie that surrounds you, and it makes you feel like you're a part of the action, and you can even get butterflies when there's a big drop or something. So it was around me in a form to where it was like I was participating, but it was participating in the mind or in thought, but it just seemed like a lifetime of pain happened in just a short period of time.
If I had a panoramic view of my life, every feeling, every thought, every action, every deed, all at the same time. The same time. And as it started happening, I began to see how I affected the person that I had the encounter with, or the experience, whether it be me personally or whether it be someone else. And then how they were affected, how it was one step removed from us and how they were affected. And believe me, there is nothing hidden in your life.
If you imagine this panorama of your life as like a still pond, and each action in your life is like a pebble which you flip into that pond. Mm-hmm. At the point where that pebble impacts on the surface, you see ripples going out. Right. But he said that as these ripples in this panorama impinge on others, yeah, then you can see the secondary effects going off from those people in the form of ripples. I see. So I think it illustrates how tied in we all are to one another in this life, how profoundly our actions and our feelings affect others. And of course, in this life review, we're made aware of that in a very profound way. Yeah. And people say, too, that it's not the events in your life that you would necessarily expect which get reviewed. It's not the big accomplishments, but rather the simple acts of kindness, often things that you would even have forgotten.
You will see the things that you did out of your heart, helping an old woman, picking a kid up, helping someone, an action that you take uncalculated, unthought, just out of goodness of your heart. These things herald through the universe, not your great accomplishments, not what you achieve or what you think has value. The little things have value.
And what I had always thought was important and nice things I had done, they didn't even count for anything. It's the little unknown things that you do for one another. And love there is always helping to give others a love and helping hand along the way, and at the same time you're benefiting because you're receiving also.
And the question was, what have you done with your life to show me? Well, I'm looking around this panoramic view, and I'm hoping that you'll notice some good things, and of course I'm trying to pick the best thing and hopefully you won't see some rather embarrassing things that happened to me as a teenager. And I thought, well, I was an Eagle Scout. Immediately came back that glorified you. Again, to answer the second time, what have you done with your life? But this time the emphasis was on to show me. But I understood what he was saying. He was asking me, had I learned to love my fellow human beings the way that he totally accepted and loved me?
And when you look at it from a place to review and to be critical of yourself, not to be judged, to be condemned. There is no condemnation in it. There is none. There is nothing but, hey, look at yourself. Look who you really are. And look what you've done. And then give it a value in the eyes of God. The death experience gives you a value of what that love is, that you are so deeply loved and that you yourself so deeply love. You begin to sense a part of yourself greater and far more magnificent than you ever give yourself credit for.
Frequently, too, people tell us that this being is also interested in the knowledge that they've acquired in this life. If there is a scene in which one is seeking knowledge by taking a course or attempting to understand something, that this being comments in an almost offhanded sort of way, that even after we die, the process of learning goes on, and that what we learn here we can take with us to the next realm. People say that love primarily, and then in a secondary, almost grace note sort of way, that it seems to be the knowledge and the understanding we acquire.
How interesting.
After a time in this light, all of these people have to pay a return trip back. And it's very interesting that when they do, after having been in the presence of this being of love and light for a while, they literally don't want to come back. They resist the attempts very often made to send them back.
I never wanted to come back. I wouldn't have traded, and I would not trade today. For the few moments that I got to spend on the other side, I wouldn't trade 20 of these lives. And when I had to come back, I came back dragging, kicking, and scratching, because I didn't want to.
And I'm told then, are you ready to go back? No, I want to go on to the City of Light. No, don't you want to go back? And I could hear my daughter and look back and see her and my husband. They were saying, bye, don't go, come back to us. Mama, I need you. Mom, come back. And they asked me again, are you ready to go? I said, no, but it seems that my daughter needs me, so I must go back.
I really had no reason to go back except that I can remember my mother. And I know that I'd put her through a lot. I was a very accident-prone kid. And she used to say, if you ever die before I do, I'll never forgive you. My mother was so adamant about me not dying before she did. I think that's what first came into my mind.
We are alive because of love. And this was what brought me back, which, to be honest, I didn't want to come back, but this love brought me back. Love of that people who wanted me back.
Other times they say that they're given a choice, that they're told that they can either go on with the experience that they're having then, or else they can return to the life they've been leading.
She said you can stay here, or you can or go back. If you stay, you're going to have to go through everything that brought you to this point. And at the same time, I was seeing the things that had brought me to that point, the things in my life that were painful. There were other things, but somehow the things that had been painful were the things that made the biggest impact. And I knew that I didn't want to go through that again. So there is no way to escape that if you try to kill yourself and you succeed, somehow you're going to have to go back and live the life from the beginning and go through everything that was painful in your life, and then have to go from the point where you killed yourself also. So you're not escaping.
And people will say to me, they say, well, Daniel, what about hell? I'll say, well, they didn't bring it up, and I darn sure didn't. Because maybe they might have checked and said, hey, Daniel, you're on this wrong list. You're supposed to be somewhere else.